born who became Japan's most celebrated emperor. The indifference displayed toward Meiji's birthplace characterizes also, in a curious way, general knowledge of the man. Even Japanese who believe that Meiji was the greatest Japanese ruler of all time may have trouble recalling a single accomplishment that might account for so glorious a reputation. Meiji is associated, of course, with the Meiji Restoration of 1868, the beginning of Japan's modern history, but he was only 15 when it occurred and, at that age, was obviously incapable of making a significant contribution to the restoration or to the momentous changes that immediately ensued. His name is associated also with victories in wars with China and Russia, and with the securing of an alliance with England, although his role in these events was surely that of a benign presence, not that of a formulator of policy or military strategy. Yet it is also true that throughout his reign, and even much later, he inspired men to perform extraordinary deeds of valor. There was no question in the minds of the men who effected the changes of the new regime that he was the guiding spirit. The general lack of knowledge of the man is not the result of any large-scale suppression of evidence. There is ample documentation for almost every occurrence of Meiji's life from his birth to his death. The official chronicle, Meiji Tennoki, record of the Emperor Meiji, lists, on a virtually day-to-day basis, not only events in which he directly participated, but relevant occurrences in the world around him. Many books and articles recalling Meiji's daily life and personality were published after his death by people who knew him, but these books somehow failed to leave much impression. As the first emperor ever to meet a European, he figures also in the journals of foreign dignitaries who visited Japan. Their accounts, less inhibited than those by the comparatively few Japanese who were admitted to his presence, are of particular interest for their candid descriptions of his appearance from the time he first appeared before the public, but even they tell us little about the man. In addition to the host of facts in the 12 closely printed, stout volumes of the official record, there are innumerable legends and anecdotes about Meiji, notably the gossip concerning such subjects as his amours and the amount of liquor he consumed. There are even people who proudly claim to be illegitimate descendants, usually with only the flimsiest of evidence. Indeed, so much material is available that it might seem that the only requirement for a scholar who intended to write a well-rounded biography was patience. But Meiji's biographers have rarely succeeded in the most essential task, creating a believable portrait of the man whose reign of 45 years was characterized by the greatest changes in Japanese history. It may be that the biographers, whether or not they are willing to admit it even to themselves, have reached the frustrating conclusion that the personality of Emperor Meiji had no greater depth or complexity than the pieces of paper printed with his portrait, the conventionalized image of a monarch before which his subjects bowed in reverence without ever wondering what might lie beneath the surface. In order to illustrate their contention that Meiji had a human side, biographers often relate anecdotes suggesting that underneath his impassivity he felt great affection for his consort, or that he thought constantly of his people, or that he possessed a wonderful sense of humor, but such anecdotes are seldom memorable or even believable. Debunking critics of more recent times tend to portray Meiji either as a cipher who was incapable of performing the acts attributed to him, or, conversely, as a ruthless tyrant whose actions betrayed his indifference to the welfare of his subjects. They are probably equally mistaken, and their efforts only deepen the mystery of Meiji's abiding fame and the immense number of his worshippers. Unlike Queen Victoria, his near contemporary, Meiji kept no diary and wrote virtually no letters. Meiji's father, Emperor Kome, left many letters, most of them filled with the passionate anger that developments in the world had aroused in him, but the rare surviving letters of Meiji are without interest. Apart from his signatures on state documents,